Hello scholars, Walter Bowne here, talking to you about your independent reading selection. Within this week, I would pick a book. I have a few here that I recommend, but I'm going to be dropping a list of a lot of titles for nonfiction. You have most of October to read this. We'll be going on to Age of Innocence, The Great Gatsby, a series of American short stories, and then we'll finally get to your independent reading. The plan is, Mrs. Lisa and I, we plan to have you use this book as one of your major research texts that you'll be doing MLA research. So let's just say you pick a book called The Smartest Kids in the World. I would select a book that you have an interest in. So if you plan to be a future teacher, college professor, you're interested in education, your parents are in education, this book by Amanda Ripley talks about what other countries are doing, Poland, Norway, what they're doing in other parts of the world that we should be doing here to innovate our education system. So my plan is to have you guys do a short book review that we can use for the Voyager, to do a book discussion where you'll be leading a discussion on your book, teaching your classmates about this book. We do that in the Media Center. And then also for you to start researching an aspect of this book, of the book that you select, that other people have talked about. So you would, if you chose this book, you would decide, okay, what other researchers have discussed educational reform besides Amanda Ripley? This will be your core text, but then you'll have secondary sources that you'll research to compile into a major 7-8 page research. Here's a book I'm reading now. I got this at the Cherry Hill Library. It's called Videocracy. It's written by someone who works for YouTube. So already I kind of know he'll not be totally honest about YouTube. I find this very interesting because I like doing videos. But as you read resistantly, I'm reading this and I'm like, you know what? He's not really talking about the dark side of YouTube. So if you're reading a book and you're questioning aspects of the book, and so that's another angle you can take with your research. What does he leave out? There's a whole dark side to the internet, and he even says, well, my mom's reading this, so I don't really want to go there. Well, he should go there if he's really writing a book about YouTube. You got to cover the whole picture, not just the sunny side of the road. The day is sun and dark, so you need to cover the whole thing. So pick a book that you're interested in. If you're interested in American football, which we call here in the States soccer, right? I call it football, but that's the way it is. I read this book, 8 World Cups, and it was very good. If you're interested in finance and history, Lords of Finance, the bankers who broke the world and led to the Great Depression of the falling stock market in 1929. If you love eating organic food and you don't mind spending a lot more for it, maybe you should read the book Organic, Discovering the Truth Behind Food Labeling. Most of the food that you guys eat, it's not maybe actually organic, but that's an interesting book. One Summer, Bill Bryson. I love Bill Bryson. He wrote a lot of great books. I read most of his stuff. And if you're into history, this is 1927. This is 1 year in American history where he talks about Babe Ruth, Charles Lindbergh, Calvin Coolidge, Al Capone, and the phenomenon of flagpole sitting. If you're planning on going into medicine, being a doctor, you might want to read books like this, The Emperor of All Maladies, about the history of cancer, right? Yes, it is long, but pick a book that you're interested in. It doesn't seem all that long. I just finished this book called The Soul of America by John Meacham, where he's looking at what happened in America's past that is very similar to today, and how we've had leaders like Lincoln, like Teddy Roosevelt, who inspire us for greatness and togetherness, not dividing us out of fear and hysteria. So this book was a pretty good read, all right? A history book about the sinking of the USS Indianapolis and the sharks that devoured so many sailors out there in the Pacific. A shark book close to shore about the real Jaws attack that happened, that inspired Jaws, the movie. This happened off the coast of New Jersey. I read so many history books. You could read this one, 1776, David McCullough. You could read Hamilton. I just finished the Grant book. There's science books. There's books on evolution. There's so many books. I mean, it's just unbelievable how many selections there are. The requirement is that it's adult reading level, so I don't want anything from middle school, anything that seems to be beneath you, and that you're interested in, and it's more narrative driven rather than like a how-to book, like how to beat the stock market. They might be okay. It might be hard to research that and to question some of that stuff, but if you have questions, come see me. I'll have a list on Google Classroom, and you'll just have your name. I'll have your name there, and then what book you are selecting. If you have questions, come see me during office hours. And so this project, the research paper, is probably going to be 200, 300 primary points. The book review, probably maybe 50 to 75 primary points. And the book talk will probably be another 50 points primary. So we're talking about a lot of primary points based on this one book. So if you pick a book, start reading it, you don't like it, stop. It's like when you date somebody. You might have a date or two, and like, you know what, this isn't going anywhere, break it off now. You don't have to marry the guy, right? If you're reading a book and you're just not into it, put it down. Life is full of books. Life is full of people. You don't have to waste your time on something you don't like or doesn't give you joy, right? Pick a book that gives you joy, and if you connect it to your major or intended interest, like if you love baseball or making videos, all right, come see me for recommendations. Take care. Bye-bye.